Well, and this is again a perfect segue because you kind of touched on the next thing I want to talk about, and we're kind of getting into the bonus stuff here that we have planned. Bonus round.
We're speeding. We're speeding through. I get it.
Yeah. Woo, we did it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's share this article. This article is from the Daily Wire, discussing Florida teacher of all fucking people. So Florida teacher is upset that he gay Florida kindergarten teacher worries on MSNBC he won't be able to share his love life with kids anymore. Oh my God.
Not something you should have to do with kids. I can understand sharing your love life with your close friends, but kids aren't your close friends. They are the people who get your bills paid.
Right. And no, go ahead. No, you please.
I was going to say, I don't understand what teaching them the alphabet has to do with your love life.
Right.
LGBTQ plus. That's how the alphabet starts with them.
Well, you know,
they don't even have the alphabet right there, but I mean,
yeah, you're not wrong.
And his quote, like, you know, immediately goes with it hits hard in my heart professionally and personally. He said, professionally, it truly makes me feel like I'm not trusted as a professional, and you shouldn't be. I know my kindergarten standards through and through, and nowhere in our curriculum does it have anything about teaching sexual orientation or sexual identity.
Really quickly, sorry,
yes.
I don't need to keep interjecting at this like this, but like I do this with videos, like a video happened, like I come up with a thought, pause it, get my thought out, and then unpause it. But where he says right there, where he says it truly makes me feel like I'm not trusted as a professional. I know my kindergarten standards through and through, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you know, your standards through and through, and at that point in time, anybody who has kids in there should get them the hell out. Get them the hell out.
Right.
Like that right there is a telltale sign. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Oh, you know what you're doing. Okay, cool. Well, I'll go ahead and you know what? Miss Crabapple or whatever your name is, I'm gonna help you get your kid out of this school because this guy's a psycho.
Yeah. And this is what the conflictingness, or like the conflicting nature of the quote. Because in the second part, he says, we should be able to have discussions. And that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. No, it's not.
No.
He said, and then he says, my kids do have questions. Oh, your kids.
Exactly. Your kids. That's the one thing that bothers me when teachers say my kids, they're not your kids, they're your students.
Yes, they're your students. They're not your kids. You know, it's so again, it's contradictory. There's there's nothing in the curriculum, right? So it's not officially on paper, but we're going to have discussions
on Reddit
with my kids. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my classroom. Oh, okay. And I should be able to speak to them. Like, but again, it's like, oh, that's fine. No one's saying you can't talk about this person, but what is it that you're discussing about this person? That's my partner. End of story. Like, I'll tell you, my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old, doesn't know to ask questions like, what does partner mean? Oh, it's your partner? It's your friend? Okay. Like, they don't know. They'll if anything, they'll say, well, did you go to the thing? And they'll ramble on a sentence about doing something that they like to do. You know, it's just like, in this, do you worry that you won't even, you won't, wow. Is this a misspelling? Do you worry that you won't be able to talk about your own personal life?
That's misspelling.
Yeah, it's a misspelling. Okay. Goddamn Daily Wire.
Get your together, Daily Wire.
And then he goes on to say, oh, absolutely. You're 100% correct. That's what we do as educators. We build relationships with our kids. And in order to build a relationship, you talk about your home life. What?
No, you don't. No, you don't. You do not talk about your home life to build up an educational relationship with your students, you Philistine.
Yeah, man. Sorry, but this guy has no business being around kids. You know, again, And maybe I'll admit, maybe I'm taking it a little too far, but like I wouldn't even necessarily talk about my home life because it's not anyone's business. I might talk about life in general, but I'm not going to like talk about what my wife and I are doing.
It's no one's business except for you and your wife, or you and your partner in this case. Like you being gay, fine. Nobody gives a fuck about that. You should not tell kids about, you should not open up a conversation with kids about that, especially because that first off, that tells me that you have nobody else to talk to. Not even your own partner wants to talk to you about what you guys are doing. Like, that's pretty sad that you would turn to children, like little individuals whose brains are still developing. You turn to them and go, oh, well, I think, well, me and my partner, we were doing butt stuff. Like, no, get the fuck, what?
Butt stuff.
Butt stuff. Like, can you not? Like, I feel like, and Amorata and I have already had this conversation, that like she would put me on the corner before she would put me on the corner before we take our kids to public schools, and by put me on the corner, I mean hooking. I wouldn't hook. Like I never would. I will not subject myself or let her subject herself to that at all. I will homeschool these little motherfuckers by myself if I have to.
The problem is you still have to feed them.
Yeah.
That's your job. But like I'm not like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna I
There's no
let
food
my
in the
kids.
kitchen. There ain't nothing to cook. Just saying.
Yeah.
True.
Right there. But like what the whole thing is like, I'm like, we would homeschool, like self-homeschool, before we even consider or even think about thinking about going down a public school route. Like I went to public school, figured out everything that they were teaching me. I already knew how to do, so I ended up failing classes because I started slacking off. I was too smart.
Yeah.
I was so damn smart that I looped on the fucking intellect spectrum and ended up back in like the sped area. But like I wouldn't subject my kids to that. And I know a lot of people will complain, oh, how are your kids going to get exposure to the real world? Well, there's this thing that we used to do as kids. It's called go outside. And we'll go outside, go to the park. We'll go to like, Target or something like that. It's not like kids cannot enjoy life.
Well, there's always classes and extracurricular activities, and
exactly like there's karate classes, which are I would hope our kids go to take some fake karate classes. Hopefully we get LaRusso. No, not LaRusso. I want Johnny Lawrence. Johnny Lawrence is cooler.
He is. He's more like they definitely fixed his storyline. Making redeeming him. Yeah, like so. Going on with his quote, he continues to say, "It scares me that I'm not going to be able to have these conversations with my children because they're going to ask me what I did on the weekend." Wait, did I read that part already?
No, you didn't.
No, they asked me what I did on the weekend. I don't want to hide that my partner and I went paddleboarding this weekend. I mean, I don't even like. It's just like
I don't understand why would telling your kids that you went paddleboarding this weekend violate that law? It wouldn't.
It wouldn't. That's what I was about to say. It's like, oh, my boyfriend and I, or my partner and I, regardless of however you phrase it, yeah, we went paddleboarding. Okay, cool. Like that's it. Oh, well, I had a teacher. She told me about how she and her husband traveled to like almost every state. Like there's like maybe 2 that she hadn't been to. She went to Hawaii for like a week, came back, and she shared some macadamia cookies with the class. And I was like, oh, yeah, this lady's cool.
Yeah.
But like she didn't sit there and tell me about like how her husband her down. Like that's not something that we as kids had interest in. We were more invested in like, what she did as far as adventuring goes. Like, where did you travel this time, kind of thing.
Right.
Like that our interest is not in her relationship, it was in her adventures, like what she did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did have a high school teacher talk to us about how when his wife gave birth, she nearly shot the kid across the room.
That's funny. That's funny. Mama Zuka. I like it.
just because I mean she was that strong, but you know,
Good
overall,
grief.
And I do want to add on to like where it's like the personal stories and stuff like that. Like these sharing personal stories is fine with people. It's like the age group that we're talking about
Mhm.
does not give one shit
At all.
about paddleboarding. They don't care about who you're sleeping with. They don't care about they really do not care about these things. They are one track minded, but like it's one track mind on 30 tracks all intertwined together. Like they hop from track to track. It's crazy how kids this age are. Most of them.
I got
And
another anecdotal situation. One of well, like my buddies in Atlanta, their art teacher is gay. He's he's one of the coolest dudes I know. He's actually like my favorite art teacher that I was never taught by. And that's saying something because I've had art teachers since I've been having art teachers since I was in like kindergarten. No, actually since I was in preschool. Like I've had a whole bunch of different art teachers and he's cool as hell. Like again, like my stance has never been, oh well, don't say gay or I don't like gay people or anything like that. It's always been don't make that the basis of your teaching these children or educating them, teaching them, like helping them learn about things as far as like, you know, basic functioning or motor skills, rather not motor skills, but fundamentals. There we go. About fundamentals of, I guess, the education system, really. You're like fucking math and spelling and some history and some science and stuff like that. Like, and again, like he and I, the art teacher I'm talking about, he and I, we've had drinks, we've had conversations about our personal lives and stuff like that. Like we're cool ass people. We bought each other gifts for like Christmas and birthdays and shit like that.
right.
But at the end of it all, like I was an adult at that point, and you know, he doesn't go and tell his kindergartners. I think he teaches, I can't remember if it was kindergartners or like first graders, but he doesn't go and teach the children that he doesn't teach his students about like his sexuality. Like he doesn't tell them, hey, this is how life is being a gay guy. Like he might mention that he's gay, but like that's about it.
Right.
It shouldn't have to go into like a deep dive and having a full blown fucking relationship with children.
Right. Well, because like again, talking about stuff naturally as it comes up in that, like I would bring up my wife or like, you know, like if someone came up where like the person mentions their partner in a relevant discussion, that's fine because it's a normal conversation, right? It like you're bringing context to something. Of course, if the subject matter is appropriate, and I was just going to read what the bill says specifically that I, you know, like the classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through third grade or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. So these things can be brought up as long as they're age appropriate and they're developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with the state standards.
Right.
So again,
and more to the point, they can't instruct on them, which is different than just having a casual classroom discussion.
Exactly, right? So it goes back to what we were saying, I think, last time. Teach a kid how to think. Don't teach them what to think. This is exactly what the bill is stating. Again, if a instructor or a teacher brings up somehow in conversation their partner, or if a student has two dads and they talk about it, it's developmentally appropriate to talk about that now. Like, because again, gay people exist. No one is denying the existence of these people, right? We all know that they exist and we're friends with a lot of them, and they're fine. They're normal people. Again, it makes sense to bring it up at these points, but I'll tell you, I don't know it doesn't seem to really come up with kids. That kids don't distinguish with like skin color or orientation this way. They just exist. They talk about their friends. They talk about Susie, and they never once mention a black girl or a black kid. You know, it's all they're just humans to one another. It's the most beautiful thing. Like once you start seeing it in action, it's really cool. But for some reason, these teachers, they want to make a case, and companies like Disney want to make the case that these people can talk to your students about this and tell them that they should be a certain way or do a certain thing because they want to play with a Barbie or because they want to wear pink or whatever. And it's sickening, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure.
Bizarre. Anything you guys want to add to this particular thing? Because I mean, it's funny how all of this stuff is sort of like run together down to this point.
I mean, we're basically in a time of the world where everything's predicated on either your skin color or your sexual orientation or basically anything else other than just the person that you are.
Yeah. And it just seems so regressive, right? It feels like at some point in the past, like 100 years, it was all about work hard. I guess the manifest destiny, right? Like go out there and make something of your future and like just take it. And now it's just like, no, we're going to regress and we're just going to segregate back to our little bins. Like you're a white person, you're a black person, you're gay, you're trans, and that's all that. And if you cross the line in any way, we're going to get you and you're going to be in trouble. And it's sad. It's sad.